Hey guys, what's up? Moses here, bringing you another Path of Exile video in the Soul Cell Phone Legion Adventures. I managed to get this amulet right here and decided to make a build around it because they nerfed Elder Rings with Warlord's Mark on hit. We used to use them as spellcasters, proc Elder Warlord's Mark on hit, and then get the leech off of it. Um, so I found this really nice. If you look over here, you'll see it's a lightning resist tier 1 with hybrid lightning damage leached as life. And with this, you can then leech life without having to need Warlord's Mark. Okay, so this is a way of leeching, and that's why I thought I could highlight and kind of like showcase and give you an idea of how you can get life leech as a spellcaster these days if you're not going the Eldritch Battery with energy leech gem, which is another way of gearing. Right, so we got this light res hybrid with leech life, and this amulet dropped from the Temple of Atsuato from the boss with tier 1 crit multi and intelligence and energy shield. And I said if I manage to annul the energy shield intelligence, I can multi-mod and make a build around this. So I managed to do it. 2 lucky annuls, didn't destroy the amulet. We got the tier 1 crit multi and the hybrid leech resist of lightning, and then we multi-modded it with area of effect, damage while leeching, which is all the time, and 52 life. So the only thing that is left to do with this amulet is bring Jorgen to research. Alright, currently he's not on research, but Jorgen makes talismans, right? And you can make a tier 3 talisman off of a crafted amulet. Bear in mind, all of this is in Solo Cell Found, right? So I got the Exalted Orbs to get it, and I found this amulet, got the annuls, got lucky, and we got something like this on Soul Cell Found. Pretty insane amulet. We make this build around it. So what is this build? This is a cast while channeling Divine Ire Glacial Cascade build based around a Shaper's Eclipse staff that can roll the Sock of the Gem support by cast while channeling. We've made similar builds like this before. In this case, I've found a crit Eclipse staff off of some random map, decided to make a cast while channeling. Shaper staffs can roll this mod. The way you do it is you basically use alterations until you hit the mod. It's a prefix, so if your suffix is bad, you can then try and make it a rare and a null until you isolate the mod. You can also use beast crafting and use imprint beasts for that. I didn't need to do it, got lucky, and had this with me for a little bit, and decided to make this build around these 2 items essentially. So we got a cast while channeling. We're using Divine Ire as our channeling skill. Normally in a channeling build we would use something like infused channeling, but since it's a cast while channeling build, infused channeling support is not going to be good here because it's not going to support the support gem, the the channeling skill cast while, right? So we're casting Glacial Cascade as our secondary skill, and Divine Ire is our channeling skill, right? So attached to that we have of course the cast while channeling, so we don't need to use it in the setup. We have Arcane Surge, physical to lightning, because both of those skills are physical 50% and this one is 60% cold and lightning, so we need to do full conversion. Physical to lightning does that exactly, and gives us physical as extra lightning damage. Increased critical strike because it is a crit build, although I'm considering changing perhaps later on. We're just getting started with this build. And then controlled destruction, because again we have a lot of crit chance with this build, and this is a trickster. So right now without power charges we got 60.2, and we still haven't picked up 25 and 25 crit chance over here, right? So there's still Heartseeker cluster to pick up, and we might, I don't know, get rid of that and do something else instead of increased critical strikes later on. but we'll see. And again, this is the like beginning, just getting to know the character, a little bit of an intro, and later on we'll make a follow-up. We can see what kind of stuff happened and how the character has changed. I just showed you previously this character was level 82 in just about 9 hours, or slightly less than 9 hours, and this is playtime of almost 12 hours, and the time interval between the 9 hours and now is basically the time that it took me to craft all the gear and prepare and balance the resistances and do the final labyrinth, cruel, and merciless. Merciless and Uberlab, right? So we picked up Patient Reaper and Harness the Void, testing that out this time around. So yeah, the links are Divine Ire, GC, Arcane Surge, Fistful Lightning, Increased Crit, and Control Destruction. I have a cast when damage taken set up here with Immortal Call, Wave of Conviction, and Enfeeble. Enfeeble reduces damage, it's our curse, and then Immortal Call gives us a damage reduction of elemental and physical, as well as Wave of Conviction. Since we have crafted here flat lightning damage to spells, this makes sure that Wave of Conviction deals mostly lightning damage. As you can see, it has some physical, some fire, big lightning, a little bit of chaos, but big lightning makes sure that enemies have that 25% elemental lightning exposure, and with lightning exposure, that's 25% less resistance to lightning. Alright, on top of that, let's continue with the links. We have here Steel Skin. Just decided to level it up, see what it does. Basically, it's a buff that you just kind of spam all the time, and it reduces damage. At level 20, reduces 2.2 thousand damage. So it's like a little bit of a buffer between your life and Mind Over Matter mana, and it just takes the damage away from the Steel Skin buff before it damages your character. It's a new gem, it's a guard skill, and I decided to utilize it here because I had another free socket. Val Haste, Val Righteous Fire. Val Haste is again because I have this room in the socket, and decided why not go for a little bit of extra movement speed and cast speed. We're going to level it up. It's going to give us a very nice buff when it's up, as well as Val Righteous Fire. We'll pop both of these and get our damage boost happening at the same time with the cast speed and with the Righteous Fire increased duration. On the gloves, lastly, I have Flame Dash. These gloves are kind of interesting. They're shaper gloves that have the supported with blind and global blind, as well as faster casting and increased cast speed hybrid. Alright, so I had these gloves and I decided here's a good opportunity to use them. And what happens here is that we don't need the faster casting to Flame Dash where we normally would, because Flame Dash gives us already, because these gloves already have the faster casting attached, and we are kind of short on sockets with this build. So there it is, and an Orb of Storm utility setup that gives us Culling Strike and Onslaught. That's allowing us to save a flask. Onslaught was changed back in the day and now allows us to even get Onslaught on bosses, right? So we got that 10% chance to get Onslaught on bosses when you hit a unique enemy, and it's kind of like always on the ground, and it just takes a long time until it, like, throughout the fight it procs. You pretty much get that Onslaught all the time, and you drop it on occasion, right? So you get that Culling Strike and Onslaught happening, as well as Blind, right? And Global Blind. So the Global Blind from the hybrid is kind of like a nice little touch. You'll get Blind supported with the Orb of Storms, but also a global chance to blind enemies, which can be triggered with your Divine Ire and your Glacial Cascade whenever they're hitting the enemy. The build is mostly Divine Ire. Glacial Cascade is there. It gives us that little bit of extra defensiveness, because when it procs, it will freeze, chill, shatter enemies in front of us, but mostly it's really the Divine Ire that will do the most of the damage here. right? I'm not focusing. There are ways to gear up with shaper boots and belt that you can get that will, you can focus on cooldown reduction, and with it, it will allow you to get the proc of cast while channeling even faster and spew more channeled spell. But that's not the focus here. Glacial Cascade is there for damage. It's doing nice damage, definitely for sure. But it's mostly there for the slows, for the freezes, for the chills, and for defensive to just hit with monsters in front of us. And Divine Ire is just doing massive, massive, massive damage. Alright, so let's talk about gear a little bit. We already highlighted the amulet and the weapon, obviously. Here I just got life resist strength because I am using Calm's Heart because I don't need anything else. I just, have enough sockets in my life, and 4.2 goes up to 5.5, so almost 1.3k HP there. Alternatively, you can use a Lore Weave, you could use an Impulsas, you can use Belly of the Beast, no, but you can use, If you ever get like a lot of, chaos damage, you could get Incandescent Heart, I guess, but you really don't want to take damage as chaos when your resistances to chaos is negative 54, alright? So, but Impulse is definitely solid for mapping if you manage to, stay alive. This is currently a new character, and Calm's Heart, since I found it, I wanted to make a build with it, since it is solo self-found, and we have Impulses for different build ideas in the future. So Calm's Heart over here for the life. The gloves, just life resist, and that hybrid rolls over here. Boots, I crafted with enchanted fossils and with... well, the idea was to hit the... shuddering fossils and try and get movement speed, life things that are going on over there, but I just hit with an enchanted fossil and got this insane strength roll with the decent life, but mostly the strength that I kind of needed, because 191 strength is a lot, and this kind of enabled me with the 30 movement speed and all the resistances, so I decided to just go for these boots with all of these stats. Again, we are solo self-found, so we need to manage those stats and we need to manage those resistances. These boots really allowed me to go for it and be able to do that. I was also very lucky to get an open prefix on an elemental damage prismatic fossil craft of this belt. You just use prismatic fossils, slam it, and we hit exactly what we wanted, which is big cold resist because I really needed it, and a little bit of fire resist because I really needed it, and the life and the elemental damage. Like, I couldn't have asked for a better belt. I got super, like, I was shocked when I hit it, and you get stuff like this and Soul Self-Found, and all of a sudden it's like, it's just absolutely amazing. I had this really nice jewel with some lightning damage to spell, some fizz damage with two-handed weapon, a little bit of fire, never hurts, and some life roll over here, so we use that, and the helmet is, well, I basically used all my pristine fossils over here, and I only got the 46 life roll. But again, we needed the strength, and the big part here is the negative light res to nearby enemies, because most of our damage is lightning coming in from the Divine Ire, and Fizz to Lightning conversion with the Glacial Cascade. If we look at the tooltip of Glacial Cascade, we see some cold and some lightning, right? So we get our negative lightning resist happening with two nearby enemies with this helm. And I even got lucky enough to get the Merc Lab, not the Uber Lab, but Divine Ire deals increased damage. Again, some god tier soul self-found stuff is happening here. I even managed to get an Essence Worm. With that, we're using Wrath. With that, I'm using a Watcher's Eye that gives us increased critical strike chance while affected by Wrath that we found on that clean Uber Elder kill with the Ice Crash. That is what I ended up identifying, and it all comes together very, very nicely. Very, very nicely indeed. Quick word about Flask, just your standard staunching, heat, and warding over here, as well as at Series Promise, dropped, rolled perfect, 2015, Fizz and Elemental, so that's kind of insane. Lavyangas, obviously, we are Mind Over Matter build, and we want to be able to use our spells even when we take damage, so Lavyangas gives us the opportunity to do exactly that. Quality is irrelevant because our mana is 1.2k, and this one recovers overcap our mana, so there it is. And yeah, just your Diamond Flask, your Quicksilver, and your instant staunching. So we got that freeze, curse, and bleed removal. I'm also using this unnatural instinct. It's kind of incredible, I know. Okay, so let's talk a quick minute about unnatural instinct. It was nerfed and normally was used in Scion builds over here, grabbing all these. Okay, so if you don't know what unnatural instinct does, let's talk about it. Essentially, it makes it so that small passives that are allocated in a small radius give you nothing, but small passives that are not allocated, you are getting the bonuses off of these small passives. Okay, so unallocated small passives in the radius inside of the unnatural instincts radius right here are all of these highlighted right now. Okay, and we're going to go through them so you guys understand what kind of insane spot this is for unnatural instincts, and how lucky I got it, you know, how lucky I am to have gotten it on Soul Self Found. So the small passives, not the big ones, alright? Here we got a big one, this does nothing for me. But the small one in the staff nodes. So you got 12 spell damage with a little bit of Chaos Res. We got spell damage 12. We got chance to block with 10 spell damage. And we got chance to block with 10 spell damage. So this is 10, 10, 12, and 12. That's 44% spell damage with 4% chance to block. Chance to block kind of irrelevant. So 44% spell damage. 4% spell damage per power charge node with a little bit of increased power charge duration. Int, irrelevant, irrelevant. These are dual wielding nodes, so they are irrelevant for me. All of this cluster doesn't do anything for me. But here we got 16% increased flask effect that I'm getting simply by using this unnatural instincts. All of these nodes, right? And if this is not enough, there is more, because lightning damage, and lightning damage is also included over here. So, you know, as you see right on top, so we got 1, 2, and 3 lightning damage nodes. This is 10, this is 22, this is 37 with 44. We're talking about 80% lightning damage off of this jewel, which is crazy, with a staff and a little bit of increased effective shock, which is of course really strong because we're shocking everything as a lightning crit build. So very insane spot with the flask effect that in fact makes quite a nice quality of life difference. So we got that Watcher's Eyes with Wrath with this insane jewel over here, and since we're using an Essence Worm, I finally yesterday managed to even find a clear mind. So we got like the insane trifecta of everything I could possibly want in an SSF build when it comes to unique jewels. So clear mind gives us a little bit of mana regen, but most importantly 53% spell damage while no mana is reserved. Right, so for only 2 points, 53 spell damage, you can see, you know, 63, just tooltip 68, and then over here 60, 68. So just these jewels like just give me a big chunk of damage. It's quite insane. For the Ascendancy, I picked up first Swift Killer, obviously, because the damage is incredible. Crit frenzies, not much to say. Secondly, I went with Weave the Arcane because it gives you much needed cast speed, and the 25% mana exactly when I picked up Mind Over Matter, so it was like perfect for me to be able to get that 25% max mana and Mind Over Matter kind of like at the same time, and the chance to recover mana and all that kind of stuff. Damage reduction, really sweet node. And then I had a dilemma, and then I kind of like played the entire game, reached to level 82, and then decided what I'm going to do. Normally, I would go Escape Artist, but you know, this is not an EB type build, Eldritch Battery, and I figure Escape Artist would be really nice with Evasion, Energy Shield, kind of hybrid helmet and body armor, and with Eldritch Battery, so you can get the benefit off of that. And this time I decided to go something different with Patient Reaper and Harness the Void. Basically, Harness the Void is just a chunk of non-chaos, extra chaos damage, chance for this to get a little bit of that, chance to this to get, okay, and the chances reduce while the damage increase. So every time you hit a monster, you have, you know, reducing chance to increase, you know, your like non-chaos is extra chaos damage with an increasing rate 25, 50, and 100, which is pretty huge, but only 5%, right? So this is a big, big, big damage, you know, just a huge chunk of non-chaos is extra chaos. It's not shown on the tooltip, but monsters explode with huge chaos explosion. You see it, these chaos explosions, very visible. And then the second one, for Uber Lab, I went with Patient Reaper, which should be very strong because we're Mind Over Matter to simply get life and mana on kill, life, percent mana. The math here is about 100 mana, about 100 life per kill, which is very nice for sustainability through mapping. If I change my mind, I can always go, this is very defensive, you get dodge, you get a little bit of attack speed per Ghost Shroud and all that kind of stuff. Definitely you could do that, but you know, I had a decision. The core of the build is really Swift Killer and with the Arcane, right, with the whole channeling and frenzies and power generation, and with the Arcane here with the cast speed and mana for Mind Over Matter. But you know, Harness the Void, Patient Reaper were my choices for this build. Regarding the tree, it's a physical spell, right? So Divine Ire and Glacial Cascade. So we go through all the physical damage nodes over here into the life, into acro. Eventually I'll grab phase acro when the content becomes a bit harder. And then life at herbalism, crit, life, more crit, more crit, more crit, some lightning walker for a little bit of lightning and spell damage, life mana, Mind Over Matter, quick recovery, more life. This is a nice little new cluster, I believe, with cast speed with a staff. I used both of these two clusters, this one and this one, with both the Ice Crash and the well, Divine Ire Castwall Channeling Trickster that we're doing right now. Those are incredible clusters for crit, for area of effect, cast speed, attack speed. Really good stuff they changed here, and they added these, as well as a little bit of arcane potency. This used to be in a different spot, but it doesn't matter. It's here now, and we got crit and crit for spells. Over the Templar tree, standard, you know, Retribution, Holy Dominion, Light Divinity, Discipline, Training, and Devotion for all the life, spell damage, elemental damage. And when it comes to the future of the build, right now we're level 82, so what I'm thinking could be subject to change is currently to go for Heartseeker, crit, 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 phase acro, and crackling speed. Alright, so we're talking 3, 7, 10 points. Right, so at level 92 I'll have all those things, and then I could, you know, finish off the build with life, life around never level 95, and there's, like always, you can pick up 14% damage for a little bit of extra over here. Now, we've talked a lot, and I bet you want to see what's up with this build. I've been picking up a whole lot of incubators, waiting to the moment where I finalize the build, and this is the end game gear of this character at level 82. So nothing's going to change when it comes to this gear. So, oh, you can use uncorrupted items. I was kind of wondering if you could. So yeah, I have a whole lot of these. And let's go kill something. I believe it will be just, yeah, this is like my third or fourth map with this character, like proper map. Up until now I was leveling up with breaches. I had like a lot of breaches. Okay, let's go. Just crit. And bosses deal some damage. Alright. Let's get to it. So that feels pretty decent to have 5.5k life and 1.2k mana. With Mind Over Matter, Acro, Phase Acro later on should feel pretty tanky overall. So yeah, when it comes to the gameplay, we're dropping our Orb of Storms and then basically blowing everything up. Orb of Storm will blind stuff. Still need to level up some gems. It will generate our onslaught. You can see there's 7-second, 8-second onslaught buff happening. Basically blowing stuff up. I don't know if this was like a particularly good map to showcase, but it's what it is right now. Basically touch and go, like you touch the monsters and they go to hell. Yeah, the damage is kind of incredible. Definitely overpowered for this kind of map, but I am pretty new to the build. Like, it's literally the first time I'm playing, or like third or fourth map that we're playing. I don't know why I can't click on it. Yeah, a little bit of Val Haste action. It's been a while since I used that in a build. Yeah, there's a thing with Flame Dash that it double casts. But yeah, it's a pretty fast build. I mean, Trickster, and the damage is ridiculous with Harness the Void now, even more. This is the first time, yeah. First map I'm doing with Harness the Void. We just did the Uber Lab, and it just blows everything up real quickly. So yeah, the goal of this character is to... Okay, bosses are dead. GG. It's kind of broken, I know. It's perhaps I should have picked up a higher tier map because everything just gets one-shotted. Anyways, the goal of this character is to really destroy Atoll maps in the end, but mostly right now, all I want to do is farm Elders so that I could get the Nebulox, so that I could make the build that I want to make next time. We talked about in previous videos the Glacial Hammer, triple ailment build with the Spark and Flame, right? Taming and all that stuff. That's a different topic. We'll get to it eventually. But for now, I just want Nebulox, and Nebulox can only drop off of regular Elder. So I want to farm yellow and red Elders, probably just red Elders with this character, and just zoom through maps, destroying everything, and farm as many Elders that I can every day, while doing everything else in the league, which is, you know, just having fun, Legion, all that kind of stuff. When it comes to emojis, I got just the Blood Guardian supporter pack with Automaton, Divine Iron, Gore, Glacial Cascade, in case you were wondering. This is it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This is the, you know, kind of like introduction to the build. When and if there will be changes, I will make sure to make an update build guide video for you guys. And yeah, it is 5:30 a.m. We've been grinding a whole lot. It's time to go to bed. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the stream. Bye bye.